Welcome to the next mini lesson. This is going to be on Chapter 2-2, Conditional Statements, but we're only going to focus on one specific part of it, actually the meat of the chapter, the most important part. I want to review a couple of definitions first. The first one we're going to look at is the truth value, and this is straight out of the book, page 82, if I remember right, and it talks about what makes a conditional statement true or false. It is false only when the hypothesis, right here, is true and the conclusion is false. We did a very tricky example in class that baffled a few people involving if an even number is prime and greater than 2, then 3 plus 4 is equal to 8. Well, that's a pretty tricky one, but we won't revisit that problem. We're going to jump right into a couple more definitions and then the example that I have set up for you. Here's our 4 basics. We usually start with this one. Sometimes we give you a scenario and you have to write the conditional statement. We give you a fact or something, then you have to turn it into if-then type statement, and we use this notation right here because mathematicians, of course we're lazy. We just like to bare minimum it. If P, then Q. Then we have the converse, sort of like flipping things. So that Q went over here and the P went over here. And we have if Q, then P. The inverse, we're negating. That's a key word in our logic process. We're going to basically, some people even write it with the negative, but we use this little squiggly line in our classes here. So if not P, then not Q. And the contrapositive, a really funny word. If you think about the etymology of it, contra, and well, we won't get into that. But basically it is then not Q, then not P. Let's jump right into this one example. And I have a conditional statement. There's my doggy Mozart. If it is an American Eskimo, then it is a dog. We can look at the truth value of this and say, okay, this is going to be true. I'll write this in green. True, because I don't know any American Eskimo puppy dogs that are not a dog. Hypothesis is fine. It's nice and true. There's nothing weird about that. I'm not saying 3 plus 4 is equal to 8. Then it is a dog. Well, that's true also. So this has a truth statement here. The converse, and I'm going to type this in because my wrist is still hurting. My poor Jeep. I'm so sad about it. So I'm going to type this in so you don't have to read my horrible handwriting. And there went my microphone. Okay, so the converse. What we're going to do here, oh, I forgot to do something very, 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 very important. This is what I want you to do. Super important. This is my P, and that is my Q. Boy, I can't believe I forgot that. P, then Q. This is my hypothesis, my P. This is my conclusion, my Q. And we're going to carry this definition right here all through our problems. Right here, this stuff right here, all in our one problem by first doing P's and Q's. So the converse, all we're doing is flipping the P and the Q. So what I want you to do is write Q, then P. I want you to do that before you start writing the sentences or whatever you may be doing. So let me go ahead and type this out because I really can't write. Okay, so I'm going to put my Q first. My Q is, then it's a dog, but I got to use the if then. So if it is a dog, then it is an American Eskimo. So let's take a look at this. Now, boom. If it is a dog, there's my Q, and then it is an American Eskimo. This is my new hypothesis. This is my new conclusion. Let's look at the truth value of this. I'm suspicious. I could think of all kinds of doggies. My neighbor has a funny looking poodle thing. And it is definitely not an American Eskimo. So this is false. The truth value is false. If I say false, I got to put a counterexample. Well, it can be an ugly poodle. All right? I had to throw in the word ugly because it is an ugly poodle. All right. Let's take a look at the next one, inverse. Now remember, if you say false, I want to see a counterexample. That would be a no-no if you just put false. Inverse. Let's go ahead and do our P's and Q's. Now inverse, we're in the same order. We're just kind of taking the opposite of things, the negation of P's and Q's. So we're going to do, oops, wrong color. I'm going to do the not P, that's a little squiggly, then not Q. Let me go ahead and type this in. If, now we're going back to our original conditional, it is not an American Eskimo, then it is not a dog. So let's take a look at this. All right, I said if it's not an American Eskimo, then it is not a dog. Well, there's something funny about that. Well, you know, that poodle across the street is not an American Eskimo, but it definitely is a dog. And there's a Dachshund thing, and there's this big, tall monster dog down the street. There's all kinds of dogs around here that are not American Eskimos. So this truth value is false. And we have that poodle again. So counterexample, poodle. Contrapositive. So let's go ahead and do our P's and Q's in this. Contrapositive, we're taking this Q over here and this P goes over there, and then we're negating both. So we have not Q, then not P. Let's go ahead and type this in. Hey, I'm over 7 minutes. I gotta hurry up. Okay, if it is not a dog, then it is not an American Eskimo. Okay, let's take a look at this. Let's see what kind of truth value we have for this puppy. Expression. If it is not a dog, okay, it's not a dog. Nowhere in the dog family. Then it is not American Eskimo. Well, you know what? We got some truth here. We got a true thing here and a true thing here. So the truth value is here. I don't need to provide a counterexample because it's true. And that brings us to the end of this lesson. Remember, oh, that's supposed to be a little smiley face. Know your P's and Q's on this. Set this up. This is very important. It helps keep everything organized, but you can't do it if you haven't learned it. And for the trivia of the day, American Eskimo right here, that's not its real name. It used to be called a Schnitzer or something in German. And it became a popular dog. It used to be a guard dog in the royal families like in the Habsburgs and something. And they bark a lot at the slightest sound. Oh, he can be annoying. But they make great guard dogs. And the Americans, when they came back from World War II, didn't like anything called German dogs. So they just made an American Eskimo because it was white, pointy ears, nice big nose, and they thought American Eskimo sounded cool. Whatever, so the name didn't exist before the 1940s. Okie dokie.